going to talk about being an emotional rebound. You're talking to Jeff a lot. And I was like, yeah, nothing serious. It's just like casual. Like, we're just catching up. Don't play dumb. You know when you're lying to yourself and everyone around you. When you're the emotional rebound, you're just playing dumb. Once upon a time, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of BULGOGI Pod. I'm your host, HANAKATT, and today we have a very exciting topic. We're going to talk about being emotional rebounds and using people as emotional rebounds, because I don't know about y'all, but like, it be breakup season out here, and I feel like there's just like a lot of like strange energy. Keep running into ex things, keep running into people that I used to talk to, but then like it didn't go anywhere, but like I still would recognize them, and like it turns out we have lots of mutual friends, and we were at just like very intimate events together, and so it's just been a weird time, and so we're gonna talk about that. But before that, a little life update. What have I been up to? Your girl has been in her extroverted era. It is AAPI month officially. Happy AAPI month. Also, shoot, is it AAPI-HM? Oh, that's Heritage Month. Got it. Y'all, one thing that we need to all figure out together collectively as a group, as a nation, as a continent is, what the heck are we doing with the acronym? I don't know. I think it changed. And so if AAPI-HM is incorrect, please go ahead and let me know, because that's probably something I should know. Anyways, we are outside. We are going to events. And so with my friends Hannah and Iris, they have both been on this podcast before. We went to a little Live Nation event. And so it was hosted by Live Nation's Asian Nation, which is like their group for Asian peoples. And ones to watch, we did a little showcase, a little show. And so I was super excited because I don't know if you guys know who Spill Tab is, but she has this one song that I'm like obsessed with. Like, I love it so much. It's Cavalier. I think I'm saying that right. Sometimes I'm like, I can't read. It's in all French. Can I understand it? No. But does my ADHD groove with the beat? Absolutely. And so saw her perform live acoustically, and it was really good. I was literally like looking at Iris in the middle of the show and just being like, wow. And she was like, wow. And you know when you just like are at a show and you're just like, wow, like your voice is so good. Like, thank God you have been put on this earth to share your talent, because otherwise like everyone else would be missing out. And so shout out to Spill Tab. And then also Ashley Mehta, and so she is half Filipino. I don't know why I did that. Half Filipino, half Indian girly. And so she had a like poppy performance, and it was really fun, really engaging. And yeah, just like got to like catch up with people. I have some friends at Live Nation, and so it was like nice to just like gather and dance a little bit. So we did a little dancey dance. Like, you know, all those like wobble baby, wobble baby, wobble baby, wobble, wobble baby, wobble baby. Yeah, we were doing like do you call them line dances? Organized dances? I don't know what the heck to call them. So went to that, and then this morning went to Camel Coffee's soft opening. And so if you guys are in the area, they're based in Silver Lake. It's kind of like on the edge, I believe. It's on West Sunset, but Camel Coffee, like camel the animal. My friends Josh and Alice started it, and it's super cool. Everything in there is vintage. Like, they literally sourced a bunch of pieces from Korea, had it shipped over. Even like went thrifting here, and like the place is just like perfection, like down to the details. Like, they did such an amazing job. And so if you guys are in the area, go ahead and check that out. And so yeah, just been trying to get into my extroverted era. But yeah, that's been the vibe. And today, because of all the weird energy, we are going to talk about being an emotional rebound. Now, how are we defining an emotional rebound? Right? To start things off, we all know those couples who break up, right? And then as a normal, healthy process in healing from breakups, it's reaching out to the friends and family around you. And so, right, you got to reach out to people, say your truth, get advice from them, and like oftentimes you have your people who are kind of like your confidants, right? Those people that you can trust wholeheartedly and whatnot. But I think where it gets sticky is the confidant romantic relationship those lines get blurred, right? We all have seen examples of people who have this like confidants, like we're just friends, like they've just been a really big help for me like through this breakup process, and then they get together and it's like, oh, how else are they helping you? Okay, maybe like not that far, but you know, late night car talks, and it's just like a very intimate space. And so I am coming from the perspective of not being the person who got out of the relationship, but being the person who is the confidant and having felt certain types of ways afterwards. So, right, story time, let's get into it. Once upon a time, I had a guy friend who got out of a relationship. Was the relationship very long? It was like, I want to say about a year. That's a solid relationship. And so, essentially, I like hadn't seen him in a couple years, right? Like I think it was post-pandemic. Like we ran into each other once, but I just like hadn't interacted with him. And we just like so happened to run into each other at an event, and it was like nice and fun because I felt like we've always had very like good energy together. Like it's just like bouncing off of each other and like joke and laugh and, you know, cry because you're laughing so hard. And so it's always been just like good energy. Like that's the type of energy I like to keep around me. And so ran into him at this event, and then afterwards like he was like, oh, like what are you doing later? And I was just like, oh, just like chilling, right? It was like 8 p.m. or something. He was like, oh, like there's a barcade like really close to here, do you want to go, or like do you want to get food? And so I was like, yeah, like we could do both, like if you're open, whatever. And so we ended up going to the barcade, and it was just like super fun. Like we were literally just playing pinball. I don't know if you guys have been to 82 in Arts District, so it was that one. And so yeah, we were just playing pinball and like kind of catching up because it had been a couple years, and then decided to get Prince Street afterwards, and we were just like chilling, right? It was a very spontaneous night. I literally like went to this event alone, was kind of intimidated, did not know who I was going to run into, and then just like so happened to run into him. And so we just kind of hung out, and I came back and I was like, oh, that was fun, right? And my roommates were like, oh, you were out for way longer than we thought. And I was like, yeah. I like ran into, what should we call him? Let's just call him Jeff, because I don't know why 21 Jump Street is stuck in my head, but like, my name is Jeff. So yeah, we'll call him Jeff. And so I was just like, yeah, like I have not run into Jeff in like so long, and it was just like a really fun night. And then like, right here and there would kind of like catch us in that like real life texting time, and y'all know how that goes. You know, when you're just like texting someone in real time, and it's just like all caps, and then just like so much energy, and you're sending memes back and forth, and it's just like, oh, watch this TikTok, watch this video. Like it's just like a lot of like mediums getting mixed into the iMessage mix. And then when you're talking, and obviously you guys are both on the phone, it's like, hey, do you just want to FaceTime? Or like all of a sudden I'm getting bombarded with a FaceTime, and I was like, okay, this feels like an invasion of privacy, but sure, because like I feel comfortable. And so like we would end up like FaceTiming, and it was just like, how was your day? Like talking about random shit, you know, when you can just talk about anything. And so I was just like, like this is fun. Like was not thinking anything of it. But don't lie to yourself. You know, when you're like just getting to know someone again, or just like reconnected, or maybe you have just even met for the first time, and like you're kind of like sussing out the vibes. You're like, are we just gonna be friends, or are you in love with me? I don't know if you guys do that. Is that a thing? Because I just assumed that they're in love with me. Now, am I wrong for that? No. Because am I perfect? Yes. And so I was just kind of like sussing it out, and I remember my roommates being like, you're talking to Jeff a lot. And I was like, yeah, nothing serious. It's just like casual. Like we're just catching up. They're like, yeah, like what's going on though, right? They're kind of sus. And I'm like, nothing, we're just friends. Like he got out of a breakup like a few months ago. It's like still kind of fresh, right? I think it had been like 3 or 4 months, I'm not recalling, but it had been like a decent amount of time, and I was just like, yeah, we're just friends. It's just like fun to like catch up with somebody who, shares the same interests and energy as you. But this is where you got to be honest with yourself. Don't play dumb, because when you're lying to yourself and everyone around you, right? When you're the emotional rebound, you're just playing dumb. Like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I'm just in my bimbo era. I don't know nothing's going on up here. But like, in reality, So don't lie to yourself, because you'll get, let's go on with the story and we'll learn the because. And so me and Jeff, right, it had been a couple months since that one spontaneous barcade pizza night. And I was like, oh, shoot, I think I'm starting to like him, right? Like, it would just kind of be like, huh, I wonder what he's up to. Like, huh? Like, whenever I would, like, get his FaceTimes, like, I would get excited. It was just like, huh, this is kind of nice. And so I, like, had to admit to Ellie and Joyce, like, I think I'm starting to like him. And that's when they decided to call me out. And I think it was good timing because, like, right, I was denying my interest in him. And so they had to confirm my interest in order to have a talk, a little intervention. And literally word for word, verbatim, Joyce goes, I think you're his emotional rebound. And I was like, what? And so she was like, yeah, like, literally think about it. Like, guys have rebounds, right? Like, people have rebounds. That's a thing. Whether that just be like for the physical stuff or, right, maybe more so for the emotional stuff. Because let's be honest, after a breakup, there is a huge hole of just like, oh, the person that you used to send like memes to every day, the person that you were texting 24/7, the person that you would like go to get vulnerable with, right? All of a sudden that person is like stripped away, and like you're left to like, who the F are you supposed to talk to? Like, yes, of course, your friends are there, but I think that in maybe very like heteronormative couples, oftentimes guys only open up to their girlfriends. And so when the girlfriends go away, when they break up and whatnot, it's kind of like, oh, I no longer have this person to like share my very deepest, darkest feelings with. And so I think it leaves maybe an even deeper hole than like a girl, because I don't know, like, you guys know this, I'm a girl's girl, and like so aggressively a girl's girl. Like, you can ask anybody, like, I will get awkward with guys because I'm just like, I don't know what's going on up here, or if anything is going on up here, because I don't know if you have the capacity. But anyways, I'm a girl's girl, and so I feel like, at least me, like, strong female friendships have been such a beautiful blessing in my life and so constant, where I never have to worry about like having people to be vulnerable with. Like, I'm positive that I will always have those people. But for guys, they kind of don't have that. And so maybe this is why I became an emotional rebound, was because I thought that I was just being nice, right? Like, I was like, oh, like, so-and-so is going through a hard time. Like, they maybe don't talk to their guy friends about this with. And so, like, I should be there for them, right? Like, in my head, like, I just kind of take responsibility for things that I don't really, like, need to take responsibility for. And, like, maybe that's, like, a control thing or, like, a narcissistic thing, but that is another story. But, right, I just, like, feel an overwhelming responsibility to, like, help those people around me. But sometimes it can come at a detriment because, right, with Jeff, I started to get emotionally involved, where I was like, oh, I really like spending time with this person. I hope they like spending time with me. And I thought that they did, because we were hanging out all the time, right? We were talking on FaceTime all the time, like texting if we weren't FaceTiming. And so it was just kind of like continuing. And then there came a point where he comes to me and goes, oh, so I went on a date. And I was like, oh, okay. And he goes, and I really like her. And I was like, oh, okay. And like, I can't even explain to you guys how freaking painful it is to hear from the guy that you're interested in that they like someone else. like to your face. And like, I get it. Like, that is completely in your authority because I never admitted feelings for you. But I think that it's kind of like, dude, you can't play stupid too. Like, you knew exactly what you were doing. Like, you needed someone to talk to. You needed someone to like keep you entertained and keep you like just like have someone to like open up to. And like, I was that person. And then as soon as you don't need me, like, you kind of like fall off the face of the earth. Like, that sucks, right? And so yeah, what happened was he went on this date with this girl, and I was like, okay, cool, right? In the back of my eyes, pain. I feel like I'm like not that good at hiding my emotions, and I've learned this recently. So he could probably tell that I was like a little like, ooh, oh, I'm happy for you, right? And then from there, I like met the girlfriend once, super briefly, and like it was fine or whatever, but like I was just like, okay, met her, like, this is the person that you like, that's very cool. And then literally from there, he fell off the face of the earth. Like, I'm telling you, I went from FaceTiming this person 2 to 3 times a week to like him not talking to me at all. And like, my feelings were so hurt. Like, I don't deserve that. I want somebody to realize my value and realize that like I am too good to be treated like that, right? Where it's just like, oh, you're just a filler until like my main comes in. Like, that is insane. I'm nobody's second option because I have worked so much on myself to get myself to a place where I truly am confident in myself and love myself so much that like I won't take that. But I think the tricky part in this whole situation was like maybe just like the non-communication of it all, right? Like, I honestly didn't have boundaries, right? Like, Joyce and Allie both warned me. They were like, I think you're an emotional rebound. And I just like was like playing stupid because I was like, no, what if he likes me? I think he likes me because he's doing all the things that show me that he's interested in likes me, right? The only thing that isn't happening is the communication. But I'm realizing in hindsight how important that is, right? Like, if I'm starting to develop feelings, like, let's clear the air, because otherwise I don't think it's fair to just like keep going down this trajectory of like not knowing who we are in each other's lives, and like one person potentially being interested and one person getting hurt, you know? Like, it just like kind of sucked where like I thought that we had great communication, and so you would think that like it would be brought up, right? But it's always a little awkward for someone to go, oh, by the way, I'm not like looking for anything, just in case the other person like wasn't interested. You know what I mean? Like, you know when a guy is like in your DMs and it's like obvious, or it's like pretty freaking obvious, like, oh, they're interested in me, but like I'm not interested in them, but I don't want to assume that they're interested in me and like reject them like before they like tell me that they're interested, because then I'm like, oh, what if they weren't interested, and like I'm just assuming that they're interested in me. You know what I'm saying? And so maybe it was my responsibility as the confidant in that case to approach the guy and be like, hey, what are we feeling here? What's going on, right? And then maybe I would have gotten my feelings less hurt, right? But I didn't. And so it made it like really tough because that person eventually got into a relationship with someone who wasn't me. And I just like, I literally was doing girlfriend level duties at 0 label. There was no commitment. There was no talk or intention or anything like that. And so if you are in the place of being the confidant, I highly encourage you to either keep your boundaries set where it's like, okay, we won't be talking in the car too long. We won't be talking too late. We won't be talking about certain things, or like put those boundaries in place, or communicate if you're starting to have feelings, because I think that like maybe had I communicated and like gotten clarity on like who I was to Jeff, maybe I wouldn't feel so hurt, right? Like maybe we would still be friends now, but like turns out he just decided to ghost me. Yeah, in the case of being the confidant, like want better for yourself. Like freaking stand up. Everyone needs to stand on business, okay? That's the only way that our dating society and culture gets better is if everyone collectively decides, I won't be taking this anymore. We need to make a change. I deserve better and more. Now, in the case of being the person who needs an emotional rebound, can you just like be cognizant of how you're affecting other people's lives? Like, I personally am totally a fan of spreading out the burden, right? Making sure that I'm talking to different types of friends with different perspectives and like maybe a different gender or like relationship experience so that I'm able to get a fuller picture of like what kind of relationship advice is needed and what I need in that moment. Like, I think that obviously everyone has their like methods of healing, but to go to one person repetitively and like maybe even like going as far as like doing like daily activities together, that's too much. I'm really trying to think. I understand, right? Like breakups are really tough and like we all have our separate ways of coping, but please just be mindful of the people around you. Like it freaking sucks to be an emotional rebound. And like I would never wish that upon anyone. And I know that happens. And like if you find your partner that way, like freaking all power to you once again. But if you aren't interested in this person genuinely and are only interested in their emotional support at your time of like needing a rebound, then like do better. Like literally just be better. Honestly, yeah. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for like listening to me rant. My mic was not on the first half of the podcast, and so I had to kind of redo some parts. And so maybe we'll do a little part 2. But I'm gonna head to the Dodger game, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Love you. Follow us on socials. Bye. Happy APIHM month.